Hello everyone. In previous video, we saw the service component in detail. So that is our employee service. The file name is EmployeeService.java. Now we will develop the last component, that is controller component. So which is key component of this project. So first of all, I will go to my base package. So right click new class. So component, controller component is a class. So I will make a sub package dot controller. So let my class name is, I will give employee controller, then click on finish button. So now employee controller is a class. Then how this class we will say as controller component. So for this we have to represent one annotation, that is at the rate rest controller, at the rate rest controller. So the annotation at the rate rest controller representing the corresponding class employee controller is a controller component. So at the rate rest controller, there is also another annotation which is representing the corresponding class is a controller component. That annotation is also at the rate controller. So at the rate controller plus at the rate response body equals to at the rate rest controller. Another point is this annotation will deal with JSON data. So after controller component development, we will run, then we will test our application in one testing environment, that is Postman. So in that testing environment, we will know, or we will communicate with the JSON data. So at the rate rest controller annotation representing the class employee controller is a controller component. Now I will import the corresponding package. Now, what is the purpose of controller component? So, what I told already, I have told in service component, inside the service component, whatever the methods we are defining, so that method I will call in controller component. So, definitely, employee service methods will call by the employee service object. So where I will take employee service object? So definitely in employee controller component. So, so first of all, I will take employee controller private employee service object. First of all, I will take employee service. Let my object name is employee service. So employee service object I took, and some configuration will require, but that configuration will be done automatically by preceding at the rate auto weird annotation. At the rate auto weird annotation. Now I will import the corresponding package. Okay. So this is the advantage of at the rate auto weird annotation. Some configuration is requiring, so that is automatically wearing, or that is automatically configuring. So now the purpose of controller component is what? You remember the purpose of controller component is to make endpoints. So what is endpoints? We will see now. And whatever the methods we have defined, so that methods we will call by employee service object. Then the method definition will execute. Now, the concept is saying this is my task, but whatever the task we will do, we have to do inside a method definition. So here in controller component, whatever the method we will define, so basically that is called as handler. So first of all, what inserting one record first, then inserting multiple records as per the number of tasks. So one by one I will call. So first of all, I am defining a method. Let public return type is string. Let the method name is insert. Okay, so I will take employee object. Okay, and this employee object. Okay, so I will employee class, I will import the corresponding package. So now this method definition, okay, so we will be preceded by an endpoint. You see, inserting one record. So here we will represent HTTP request and a HTTP request. So there are so many or many HTTP requests. One is like at the rate get mapping, at the rate post mapping, at the rate put mapping. So here inserting record, that means inserting. So request is a post request, posting information. So what I will do, I will represent a HTTP request that is at the rate post mapping, and within double quote I will specify, I will create an endpoint. Okay, so whatever I will write, suppose I will write insert employee. So this is my endpoint. So when I will run, okay, Apache Tomcat will run. Server is embedded. So with 8080 port number. So when we will run whatever the URL will generate, local host colon 8080, then if I will type slash insert employee, then this method definition will execute. Okay, so first of all I will import the package, corresponding package for at the rate post mapping, and so one method I am defining. Let the method name is insert, taking one parameter. That parameter is employee object. So this parameter I will preceded at the what with an annotation that is at the rate request body. So why this annotation I presented here, and I will import the corresponding package. Why at the rate request body? Because it is used to bind the HTTP request body to a method parameter in controller components. So it is request body. So employee object is employee type of object. This object is containing employee class property, ID, name, and salary. So what is the purpose of this method? Purpose of this method is I will call I will call this method insert employee. You remember one point at the time of method definition, insert employee taking employee object as argument or as parameter. So when I will call by the employee service object, so definitely, so method call and method definition, what signature must be same. When I will call, so employee service, this is the employee service object dot method name is whatever the method we have defined here, insert employee. Insert insert employee within bracket employee object I will take. So at the time of method call, this is method call, and method definition signature must be same. Signature must be same. Then here, since return type is a string I have taken, so return. So a message, suppose we can write record inserted successfully. Record inserted successfully. Control S. So in this way, one method I called. Okay, so insert employee method we have defined inside the employee service class. That's why I invoked by the employee service object. So at the time of definition, it have taken employee object as argument. So at the time of call, I took employee object as argument. Since my return type is a string, so that's why one string value, that is nothing but a one message, simply I wrote when I will run. So this message will display in the form of output. Then here within bracket one annotation I have used, that is at the rate request body. For the purpose, request body annotation used to bind the HTTP request body to a method parameter. Okay, and this is my endpoint. So inserting a record means posting, inserting a record, posting. So since it is a post request, that's why I have taken at the rate post mapping. This is for one test. Similarly, I will what do for next test. So basically, this method is called as a handler. Every method in controller component is called as a handler. Okay, then next method I will define next task is inserting multiple records. So I will take a collection, which type of collection, employee type of collection. Okay, one method let insert, suppose one method I define. So at the rate request, currently I hold request body and collection list, which type of collection, employee type of collection. So one list object I took, so employees. Okay, so this now here also inserting multiple records. So definitely I will represent at the rate post mapping, or post, it is a post request. Similarly, I will create an endpoint let slash insert employees. Control S. I will import list. Okay, so I will call which method I have defined for inserting multiple records, insert employees. So this method I will call by employee service object, employee service object. So I can write the return employee service dot insert employees, insert employees. So this method, so automatically it is coming employees of what, this is a list object that already I have taken at the time of definition. So you see in employee service, so next method insert employees we have defined. Okay, then get employee method I will call. So here inserting one record, inserting multiple records, these two tests completed. Then we will go to next point. So I want to get all records. Next method is get employee, getting all records. So it is a get request. So at the rate get mapping, I will for directly, suppose I will write at the rate get mapping. Okay, so endpoint I will create it. Suppose I my endpointed employees. So what I will do, I will define a method list. Which type of list? Employee, because this task is what? Getting all records. Okay, so let my method name is find all employees. Whatever the method name you can what define. So return employee service. This is my employee service object dot which method? Get employee method. Get employee method. Okay, so get employee method. So now control S. So at the rate get mapping, I will import the corresponding package. Okay, so in this way I completed. So this is my endpoint. Request is get request because getting records, getting information, get request, posting information, post request. So I called get employee method by employee service object. So get employee method we have defined inside the employee service class. Then another method I will call, so that is get employee by ID. Based on the ID value, one record I will retrieve. So this method I will call. So first of all, this is also getting information, getting one record. This is getting all record. Now I will represent getting one record. So it is a get request, get mapping. First of all, I will create an endpoint. So slash employee, whatever you can write, but based on the ID. So again, additionally, I will take an attribute. So in this way, we will write, you remember, endpoint slash employee slash ID. So I will define a method. I will define a method. Okay. So particularly one method I will define. Let my return type is employee. Suppose one record I want to retrieve from employee info table. So let my return type is an employee. So one method I am defining. Find all find all employee by ID. Find all employee by ID. So within bracket, definitely I will take ID value as argument. But if this is my scenario, you remember, so based on the ID, so you remember if this is the scenario, based on the ID, I want to get a specific record, and for that in controller component, I am defining an handler and I am creating an endpoint. So endpoint slash employee slash id value, then within a bracket int id also echo as parameter. So in this case, you remember one annotation you will use at the rate path variable. Okay, so for the purpose, this annotation is used to identify the specific resource. This id value, when in my testing environment I will put the id value, so it will identify as a specific resource. Okay, so I will import the corresponding package, and so now I will call, so return employee service. This is the employee service object dot get employee by id. Get employee by id. Finish. Control S for saving. So in this way, so for inserting one record, for inserting multiple records, getting all records, getting one record based on id, so we completed, for this we completed four handler and four endpoints also we created. Then we will go for update. So you remember for updating, so the request is put mapping. So at the rate put mapping for updating. So which request for updating? So which annotation we will use? It is put request or put mapping. So let my endpoint is suppose last update. Whatever you write. And for this one method, I will define public. Let my return type is employee. And okay, so one method I will define. Suppose let my method name is update employee, and within the bracket employee object I am taking. So it will consider as request body employee. Okay, and what I will do, I will call a return employee service object dot which method. So you see in employee service which method update employee. Okay, so update employee. So here related to update employees suppose or update emp. Let my method is this. So update method name is employee. Okay, and within bracket, so I will pass employee object. So now at the rate put mapping, for this annotation, I will import the corresponding package. So in this way, update task completed. Then I will go to delete. So for deletion of a record, the request is at the rate delete mapping. You remember at the rate delete mapping. At the rate delete mapping, and within a bracket I will create an endpoint delete. So delete, already for that I have written the business logic in service component. So for deletion, how we are deleting a record based on the id. So here same way. So within curly bracket, so I will take id. So one method I will define, let public return type is suppose string. Suppose one method I will define, let delete employee. Okay. And so ID. So here you see once this type of endpoint what we have created. So at the rate path variable, this annotation again we have to write here. Then I will call the method return employee service. This is the employee service object dot delete employees method. You check. So which method? Delete employee. Delete employee method. Delete employee method. I will call. Okay. So let it suppose my method name is delete emp. So this method I will call. Okay, so this. So I will import delete mapping. I will import the corresponding package. So in this way, the controller component we developed. So one, two, so I think there are six tasks. This is inserting one record, inserting multiple records, getting all records, getting one record based on the ID, updating record and deleting record. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are six number of tests. So for this, we had written business logic in service component. So all the methods we invoked by the employee service object in controller component. So in controller component, what we did, we defined handler, we created endpoints. So every whatever the methods we have defined, so every for every method one endpoint we have created. Okay, so this is all about what controller component. Okay, so now in this way we developed entity component, that is employee.java. Then we developed repository component, that is employee repository.java. Then we developed service component, that is employee service.java. Then we developed controller component, that is employee controller.java. So in my next video, we will see how we will run and we will test our application in post-MERN environment. Thank you.